Hey everyone! So as we hop into my March update with Rock the Casbah, I just want to be straight up and say I keep my videos real, and as you're going to see, we started out a little rocky and we have lots to work on. So I was really excited to start March off with a bang. We went to a standardbred dressage clinic out in Connecticut, which, don't get me wrong, was totally awesome. I thought it'd be good for Casbah and I to get back into the ring, work on moving off my leg, getting supple, and all that good stuff. So as you can see there, we were working on some leg yields, which, considering we haven't done in quite a while, I was pretty satisfied with. Then we eventually moved on to trot work. So as a whole, we started out, and in my head, I'm like, wow, I'm so out of shape. But darn, Casbah feels good. She was forward. She's sound. She's definitely reaching more than she did when I tried doing some dressage stuff with her last year. She was super tense. We kind of hit some brick walls. And at first I thought we were going to be good. I was like, this is awesome. So even right here, she was so much more supple than she used to be. And like I had mentioned before, we definitely had some anxiety when we tried doing dressage last year. She doesn't always like being told what to do. She doesn't always react the way I'd like her to leg pressure. And I thought we had gotten over quite a bit of this, but I really hadn't been riding her in the dressage tack. I'd been riding her in my hunter saddle, stirrup shorter, different bridle. This was the first time actually riding in this bridle. So at this point, I was still pretty thrilled with it all. But as you'll see in a couple clips here, our anxieties, frustrations, and anger around dressage do come back. And that's a pretty big point I'm going to have to work on, and did work on throughout the month of March. So it looks like I don't actually have my counterbending on this video, but I was really pleased with Casbah when we went to the right and left. She was being good. She was being supple. Her frustrations and maybe lack of communication, I certainly don't think I was riding my best, started when I asked her to counterbend. She didn't really understand what I wanted, and her response was like, nope, can't want to, as you'll see right there. So once she started lashing out a bit, the trainer had me do circles. Every time she'd be bad, I'd do a circle to make her keep moving, because eventually when she does that, she also will try to just stop moving forward altogether. So our thought process was, if you're not going to move forward, you're going to keep moving in a circle. And this theme kind of continues on. So then after that initial kick, I do get her to trot forward again. And she'll have some nice steps. Like, she'll move on. She'll look pretty. I didn't really have her on the bit anymore. Once I started to lose her, the concentration, the focus, it was just gone. Inevitably, I'd get her trotting forward. And every time I'd really ask her to start to bend or put my right leg on. So right here, we're going to start to ask her to counter bend again. So I kind of put the right leg on her to hold her out, because she tries to fall in when I counter bend, and she gets real angry. We try and get her to move forward, doesn't want to do that. So then we're back to more circles, and this trend really lasted longer than I would have liked it to. I was frustrated. She was frustrated. I'm out of shape. She's really fresh for racing, and she was pretty darn sure that what I'm asking her was stupid and she didn't need to do it. I think for me, one of the biggest frustrations with this whole reaction was that I had ridden her the day before. It was out on the track, but I put my leg on her. I made her do circles. I didn't let her fall in, and she was actually very good. So I went into this clinic thinking like, well, we haven't done a lot recently, but we're going to be okay. And she started out that way too. But the more we rode and the more I used my right leg, really, she'd get really angry. So going to the left, she was pretty good. She didn't give me a lot of trouble. She'd be more around. She'd get her head down a little bit. She'd move forward. When we turn her to the right, she'd just want to stop. She'd want to kick out. She was just really, really, really was not happy. And I'm still not totally sure why she picked that day to be so grumpy. She has opinions, but she was certainly over the top during the clinic. We were in the indoor. It was very windy. Not that that gives her reason to act that way, but I'm still at a bit of a loss as to why she was so much worse than usual on the day of this clinic. And then this right here was our total, like, giving point. She just kind of was done with it all. And she's like, this is really stupid. And we had to reevaluate because we weren't moving forward. She just kept wanting to go up, kept getting angry and more angry and more angry. So I actually did hop off. And we tried a different exercise with a lunge line, expecting her to really not like it, since she, especially to the right, wasn't happy. And this is when we decided that, yeah, her anger was around my leg, which she has to get over, but it wasn't her bit, it wasn't, pressure on her mouth, because she's getting that here in the lunge line and was pretty okay with it. It had to have been my leg. When I closed my leg on her, asked her to push off my leg, she really didn't like it. After the lunging, I did get back on her and let her walk around on a loose rein and just kind of ended on that note. She was good. She walked forward. She never stopped. And I went home, went to bed, and started over. After the clinic, I made the executive decision to put the dressage tack to the side for a while and just focus on getting her to do what I wanted. Without that, we can revisit that later in the summer if we feel. But right now we're racing, so we have to get her going for that. As you just saw, that was my dad training her. She did get a pedicure, one of her race day clips, and we did a lot of riding around the farm, kept her happy. I rode around the track a lot, and she really didn't give me a hard time. I wasn't always asking her to get on the bit or bend, but even when I did, she didn't fight me like she did that day at the dressage clinic. So I'm moving forward. I'm not going to focus on that unless it comes back up. But right now, I'm just happy that she's sound. She's been good. She's been racing great, and we've still been able to get some riding in. So here she is on the track, and this is really what I have to work with most of the time. I don't have a ring for her at the moment. We are just at the training facility, so we ride around the track as if we're jogging, and then some days I have to try and make the best of it and ask her to work on the track as if it were a ring, which also can get a little confusing for her. She's like, Mom, why are we changing direction so much? I'm on the track. We're supposed to, like, go one direction, or when we turn to go the raceway, that means we're training. So there's definitely some confusion, but she's put up with it pretty well, and really her trot has just been so much more free than I think it was last year, which is awesome. I felt like last year she could be a little short behind, and this year she's really reaching up front, which she's generally always been good about, but even more behind. So I can't complain. Overall, I think we ended the month well. Stay posted for our April update, which is sure to have more riding and hopefully some trail riding videos as well. We'll see you next month.